Works Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. Works Power and Garden Tools. CVA muzzle loaders. It's just a better gun. Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. True Turn Hooks, hook more fish. Furminator, the best food plot implements on earth. Roadrunner Lures, Roadrunner equals more fish. Arctic Ice, the most durable and versatile cooler packs. Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait. And the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, State Parks and Historic Sites.
Welcome back to O'Neill Outside. Scott Maxim filling in for O'Neill today. I am the occasional outdoorsman and always ready to fill in for O'Neill, give him a break, and because I truly enjoy coming out here and hanging out with you all today. Before I kick off the show, I want to remind you, go check out o'neilloutside.com, where you will find O'Neill's book, People and Places Along the Way. He's got a bunch of great stories about all the people that he's met over his career doing the outdoor show and hunting and fishing and so on, and with some great guides. So it's definitely worth a read. You can order it at Amazon.com, or you can order it at o'neilloutside.com as well. Now, I want to kick off the show today with something a little different. And John, I see you're there waiting for me on the phone. Please bear with me. I want to kick the show off with something a little different this week. I stumbled on a letter to the Buffalo News. It was a letter to the editor, and it was referring to a picture that they ran recently about a hunt. Excuse me. And in this letter, Mr. Andrew Halsey says the following. Excuse me. In the recent hunter section of a Sunday paper, there's a picture of two very young girls holding high-powered rifles being taught how to hunt by their dad. They look like they'd rather be anywhere else than being taught how to shoot and kill deer. Why do dads feel the need to teach their children to take the lives of animals that kids adore growing up? Will the Buffalo News show a picture of the kids standing over the deer in its bloody last throes of life that they have inflicted? Do hunters feel the need to instill their primal instincts in their children? Can't they find a better way to bond than hunting? Well, Mr. Halsey, I would respectfully say this. First of all, to refer to hunters as a whole as instilling primal instincts in their children is to have a distorted picture of what a hunter truly is. And what I'd like to do today is I'd like to open up the phones to anybody and everybody that's ever gone hunting with their children and tell everybody out there, including Mr. Halsey, should he be listening, about what it is that bonds parents and children together so well through the outdoors, be it hunting or fishing or even just going on a hike. Now, I have a few reasons myself that I've written down here, and I will knock them out for you real quick. But first, let's go to the phone and take care of John in Lilburn. Good morning, John. Welcome to O'Neill Outside. How are you doing today? Hello, John.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
It's going well. What can we do for you, sir?
I was going to approach a subject, but you have a better agenda, I think, because I've done the same thing. I have two girls, and they are keen on hunting. They love to fish. And when a kid takes their first fish, it's amazing. But you take them hunting, you'd be surprised. Women love to shoot guns. And if you ever get a person to shoot one, it's not...
Can I tell you a little secret, John?
It's not such a problem.
I'm going to tell you a little quick secret there, John, about women with guns. Now, I'm a single man, and what I've actually found is that taking women out who on a date for a shooting date is outstanding. It is absolutely outstanding. First of all,
they love it.
Oh, they absolutely love it, and for numerous reasons. First and foremost is that firearms, and we'll take it out of the hunting realm for a moment, but firearms represent the great equalizer when it comes to men and women if there's a confrontation. Men are stronger, men are larger, men can do more damage, but a woman with a gun, she just equalized the situation. So I love women with guns, and as a matter of fact, I've got a story here. I'm going to talk to you, everybody, a little bit in a bit about 2020 hunting statistics that are very encouraging when it comes to women. So I'm sorry, John, continue.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. I have my girls now; they're grown, they're in their 30s, but when they were younger, we would go to my uncle's farm, and they would say, "Daddy, bring the guns," because we want to shoot, whether it be shotguns or 22 rifle or whatever, and they were very good at it too. But to take them hunting and fishing, of course, but to learn how to do things amazes them. Because first of all, they think the old man's real smart. But it's just over the years, the things you learn over the years, and you teach them, and it is not a primal blood sport. It's can I be smarter than this squirrel or this dove or whatever, or am I quicker, more agile, whatever, than this animal?
Yeah, and that's the shame of it.
So much as it's a bond. It's a bonding, but you're out there to get food, and it's good to make them appreciate the connection between a live animal and your plate.
It's very funny you say that, John. I like I said, I do have a list here that I'm going to start ripping off here about why parents should bond with kids over hunting. So with that, I think I'll dive right into it and wish you a very happy day. How does that sound?
That's great.
All right, outstanding. And
thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, sir. And actually, you did touch on a couple things I want to touch on here, so you are definitely on point, sir. Have yourself a great morning.
I feel.
All right.
Hey, wonderful. You too. All right, see you.
Take it easy now.
Bye-bye.
All right, so I'm going to dive right into it. Reasons why parents should bond with their kids over hunting. And first and foremost, it starts with fostering an appreciation and a desire to preserve the outdoors. That's right. When you go outside to the woods and you're going hunting or fishing or hiking or whatever you might be doing, you don't want to destroy your playground, do you? Absolutely not. You're going to take care of it. You're going to preserve it. You are going to make sure. Litter? Not a chance. I'm not leaving anything behind. If I find some, I'm picking it up. But you keep the habitat clean and pristine and you preserve it as much as possible. Why? Well, of course, it's your playground. But two, it's the habitat of the animals that you hunt. You want these animals to flourish. You want them to be healthy. You want them to be happy. It doesn't matter if it's a turkey or a deer or an elk or a bear or even a fish. Healthy environments lead to great harvests when it comes to the hunting time. Here's another one for you. Hunting teaches kids that rules mean something, okay, and that it is ethical to obey them. And what do I mean by that? You have to adhere to regulations when you hunt. You cannot take a deer out of season. You cannot take a fish that is too small, or you cannot harvest a doe during certain times of the year. We have to respect these rules because they're set up to benefit the animals for the long term. Teaching your kids to obey rules like this teaches them to respect the animals' territory as well as their presence in it. In addition, you're looking at regulations not only dealing with the harvesting of animals, but when you can do your sport. Certain times of the day, certain times of the year. All these things must be adhered to in order to enjoy the sport to its fullest. Teaching that to your kids is a great way to do that through hunting. Here's another thing that we impart upon our children when we go out hunting and fishing with them. Work leads to rewards. That's right. There's no free lunches when you go hunting. There's no free lunches when you go fishing. The animals just don't walk up to you, fall on the ground, and expire and then let you take them home. You have to work towards it. You're going to be moving through the brush. You are going to be tracking. You're going to be going to deer stands. You have to maintain a firearm in working condition. There's a lot of things that go into a successful hunt that when you work towards it, it makes the success of the hunt even more rewarding. Another thing here is it teaches that processes lead to results. You take steps to achieve goals, As we say here earlier with the work, you take steps to achieve the goal when you hunt. Do we take the buck this year? Do we scout this year? What is the goal? Is it the first time harvest for the kid? Whatever it is, you're going to go to your stands, or you're going to get camo, or you're going to get your weapon ready. All kinds of processes lead to the result. And when you follow those processes, it teaches the child that also applies in real life. If you have a goal in life, a job, for example, that you want to get, then work towards achieving that goal. Hunting and fishing go a long way to helping kids learn that. Hey, I'm going to take a break here for a little bit. My name is Scott Maxim. This is O'Neill Outside, America's #1 outdoor radio program. Give me a call, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. Tell me how hunting and fishing helps you bond with your kids today on O'Neill. Welcome back to O'Neill Outside. Scott Maxim filling in for O'Neill today. I am your occasional outdoorsman. The number to call is 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. That's 800-WSB-TALK for those of you who prefer the letters. That's for all of you outside the metropolitan Atlanta area. And I'm going to jump right back into the phone calls here because I have a gentleman here that's going fishing with his daughter today. Uh-oh, you're going to bond with your kid over some fishing? What's going on, David?
Hello?
Hey, David.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. You're on O'Neill Outside. I see it looks like you're going fishing with your daughter today.
Well, no, actually, this was about 15 years ago. My daughter's 19 right now.
Okay.
But she was about 4. We were at a private stock tank, and I guess it was a channel cat, blue cat, about 3 to 4 pounds. And I asked her, do you want to reel it in? And she didn't want no part of it. And it was kind of cute. And then I had to explain to her when we were cleaning it with the neighbor that she didn't realize we were going to eat it. It's kind of hard on her.
Yeah.
You know, sensitive. She was real sensitive. And that's all I had, but I wanted to throw something at you right quick.
Sure.
I don't know you, but you sound sincere. Mr. O'Neill, if he ever retires, I hope you look into doing shows like this because we need stuff like this for the I know we're in a pandemic and everything. It makes the world a better place to be. There's always hope and future for the future, and I want to compliment you, okay? And I'll let you go.
Well, I thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. And thanks for that story, David. It's funny to hear about your daughter kind of freaking out over a fish. I've dealt with a little bit of that myself with my with some young nieces.
It's hard on them. It's hard, but she's okay with it. But like I said, have a great day.
I will do that thing. You do the same, sir. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, back to the phones we go. We've had somebody here waiting patiently. It's Roadster from Doraville. Good morning and welcome to O'Neill Outside.
Good to have dialogue with you again, good friend.
How you doing?
We must have tribute to a great American of African descent who passed away by the name of Herman Cain. And I wish to give him and his family all our best in love, and also to African-American Henry Aaron, which I love, and I wish the best to his family.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Rosa. That's actually been on my mind a little bit this morning as well, and if we do sidetrack a moment from the outdoor talk, losing Hank Aaron is especially painful in Atlanta. He is by far the greatest Brave there ever was.
No, yeah, he's a great ball player, but a greater American.
And
Herman Cain.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, these two guys are cut from the same cloth, man. I mean, they're both really great men, great at what they did, and both of them had such superb outlooks on life.
Past that, I wanted to talk, because you're a gun man. I was conscripted into slavery for 2 years in 1967 through 69.
Okay.
I ended up in the Mekong Delta, and my outpost was a old French garrison, and in there was a big metal building, and it leaked. It was so old, everybody was scared of it, like it might be booby trapped. So nobody ever messed with it, and it was seeping cosmoline, and you know how that smells.
Oh yeah. That's for storing guns long term.
Oh yeah, it was. So nobody wanted to deal with this container. So finally, it got so bad. Everybody said, "Well, we'll just we'll go in there." And my great Vietnamese counterparts, we said, "Well, we'll drill a hole in there and see what's in there." So we drilled about a 3x3 hole in there and looked in there, and we couldn't see anything. It was just totally black. So we got the fortitude. So we're going to bring a torch in here, and we're going to cut the door off this thing and see what's in there. When we did it, Scott, there were grease guns. You know, the old timey, you know, like World War II grease guns.
Oh yeah, old grease guns. You talk about that? Yeah. They look like they actually look like a grease gun. Yeah.
A 45 caliber. So we got the door open. I know we got to go. Behind that were BARs, like 20 BARs with full shoulder stocks, everything of mint condition.
Wow.
We got behind that. There were 12 30 caliber Brownings, and behind that were 4 50s.
That's an amazing find, man. And if they were all wrapped up in cosmoline, they were being stored for the long term.
Well, but my unit we're using those. Actually, we're using those guns.
Well, yeah, because they're excellent and insanely reliable.
I was an advisor. Oh, they were perfect. But what I'm trying to say, those guns had to have been there for like since probably when the French were in Vietnam. Those guns were probably there for that long.
I'll tell you what. Along those lines, I have a rifle. It's called a Mosin Nagant M44. It's a 1946 vintage Russian carbine army rifle. And I ordered this gun with a friend of mine who has a license to acquire guns. We got them from a dealer, and they were all soaked in this cosmoline. And for those of you that don't know, cosmoline is this stuff that it's really oily, it feels really sticky, and it's horrible stuff. But what it really does well is it preserves guns for the long term. So the Army, what they'll do is they'll produce a bunch of weapons, they'll dip it in this cosmoline, they'll store them in racks for the long term, and you can come back and get them years later and they're perfect. Well, these particular rifles that my friend and I ordered were 1946 vintage and had been stored since then. They haven't seen the light of day. We got them home. We used some stripper to get all the cosmoline off. You got to use like gasoline or kerosene or something like that.
Oh, it's hard.
And it's brutal. And once we strip them off, it is the most reliable bolt action I've got by far and highly accurate.
We used gasoline to strip it off, and of course, these guns actually went into the unit I was in support of. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, thanks for calling, Roadster. I'm going to get back to the list here of stuff that helps out kids through hunting, and appreciate you giving us a call this morning. You're always perfect. Well, thank you very much, sir. Have yourself a wonderful day. All right, back to this list here. Joining back here, if you are just joining O'Neill outside, today's show is dedicated to a man who was horrified at the sight of a deer hunt photo with a hunter and his 2 daughters in a newspaper. He thinks that it's basically instilling primal instincts in your children to go hunting with them. Well, I say differently. I say that it instills other things in your children. Allow me to continue with my list here. Here's another one for you, okay? Life is not filled with guarantees. Sometimes your hard work doesn't pay off. In other words, sometimes you'll do everything right for that hunt, and it doesn't pan out. You don't get the deer, you don't get the turkey. It just doesn't work out for one reason or another. Well, it teaches us now how to lose with some grace and dignity. Yeah, it didn't work out this time. We did everything right. What can we do better next time? How can we improve? What can we do? And when you teach that to your children, it helps them learn that even though we've done everything right and occasionally we fail,
it doesn't really matter. We can keep moving forward. We can keep trying harder. We can keep trying to achieve the goal. Here's another one for you. Hunting with your children teaches them self-reliance. Absolutely. No question about it. If they're out in the woods, they know that they don't have to worry. For example, we're going through this pandemic here. Everybody freaks out. You make a run on the Kroger. You can't get any meat. You can't do anything, but you know you can go out with Dad and we can go get a deer or turkey or whatever's in season if we don't have it on ice already from just a couple weeks ago. It allows the child not to worry so much about the world around them. They can rely on themselves. If going forward in their adulthood they run into a same situation, they have the skills to go out, get some protein from the wild in the form of a deer or a turkey or an elk or whatever, and be able to feed themselves and their family. Along those lines, let's talk about feeding. When you bond with your children over hunting, it contributes to a healthy lifestyle. Absolutely. The first part of that healthy lifestyle is going to come through exercise and being outdoors. When you do that, everything that comes with hiking, with climbing, with walking, with carrying heavy objects, all that comes into play. Great anaerobic exercise. But also, when a child is raised being able to eat the meat from a harvest of a family hunt, they really are getting the best possible nutrition they can for their bodies. Nothing's processed. There's no hormones. There's plenty of vitamins. Matter of fact, I even talked a while back of just how nutritious venison is, for example, compared to beef or even fish. It's really amazing. When you take the kids out there and you show them what the outdoors has to offer as an alternative to a supermarket for a food source, well, then all you've done is just shown them that there is an option to live a better and healthier life. I'll tell you what, I'm going to wrap that up here for now. I've got a couple more I'm going to hit, but I want to remind you to give us a call. Let us know how you bond with a kid out in the woods. Is it hunting? Is it fishing? Are you going to go do it today? 404-872-0750 is the number. 800-972-8255 is the number to call if you're outside the metropolitan Atlanta area. My name is Scott Maxim. I'm happily filling in for O'Neill this morning here on O'Neill Outside. Catch us every Saturday right here on 95.5 WSB Atlanta's News and Talk between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m., getting you ready for a day out in the woods. Don't go anywhere. I got a little bit more to talk about here with how hunting helps you and your kids bond right here on O'Neill Outside. Welcome back to O'Neill Outside. Scott Maxim filling in for O'Neill and Woman Williams this morning. And I would love to hear from you. What are you doing? How you doing it? Who are you doing it with? Where are you going when you make your outdoor trip today? 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. I'm continuing with the theme here of addressing this letter that was written by a person up in Buffalo, New York, saying that parents should not bond with kids over hunting. I maintain they should. Let me continue with reasons why. Here's a good one. Number 8 in my list, the teaching of proper and safe use of firearms and or primitive weapons like, say, crossbows or actual bows. Shooting requires skill and discipline, concentration, and technique. All of these things go into being able to manipulate these weapons with the level of skill required to harvest an animal. These skills translate to later skills in life. In other words, it's sort of like that process we talked about earlier, but with the maintaining and understanding of machinery in this example. It also teaches you that if you are going to rely on this particular weapon in order to harvest your food, you have to make sure it works. You always have to think ahead and make sure that whatever you're doing, everything falls into a row. So the proper use of firearms and or primitive weapons definitely contributes to that. Here's another thing too. When it comes to sharing the outdoors with your children, one of the things that it imparts upon them is an appreciation of nature that they can share not only with their friends, but other family members, and later down the road, their children. It's a great way for multiple generations of family members to get together and have a great time and talk about a hunt or participate in a hunt together or basically just to bond with one another. And the outdoors provides that unique opportunity because, well, honestly, it's never the same time you go out every time, is it? No, we're always going to see something different. We're going to see a different animal maybe, or maybe it's just a different way the sky looks today, or whatever. It's definitely going to be a lot different bonding experience than, say, going to a ball game together, or whatever it is that kids and parents do together. It's this enjoyment that bridges generations that really makes the outdoors such a unique and awesome way to bond with your family members. And along those lines, finally, it creates memories that can't compare to anything else. It just can't. As we were talking earlier about, reeling in your first fish with your child and just how excited they are, or terrified, whatever. It really creates memories that you and the child will never forget, that are truly unique, that only you share. And that's what makes the outdoors so great. So when I see letters where people like Mr. Halsey are upset or offended that we're taking the lives of these animals that we hunt and harvest, he needs to get off concentrating on that aspect of it. And understand also that these animals are there for that reason. These are, for lack of a better term, food animals. They are lower on the food chain. This is their purpose. A deer is there to provide food for other animals, be they humans or be they other four-legged critters. The thing to emphasize, and I would agree with him on this if he ever got around to saying that, maybe we should allow this, allow kids to hunt with their parents, and I'd be all right with it. It's just, I don't know, just accept what other people might enjoy doing as long as it's legal, and don't worry about it if it's not your bag. And that's all the only thing I would say to Mr. Halsey. Let's just enjoy life your way and let other people enjoy life their way. So that being said, I think, if you would like to call and have some other things that bonding comes about through hunting and fishing, please let me know. Give me a call. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Those are the numbers that will put you in touch with me. Now, that being said, I alluded earlier that I had some good news pertaining to hunting. And in fact, I do. There's some very, very good news. And actually, it is the COVID silver lining. If ever there was anything that could be said as a silver lining from having to deal with all this COVID stuff, it's that the quote-unquote once dying sport of hunting is now experiencing a resurgence. I'll talk to you about that in a second. Let's go back to the phones. Let's see here. We've got Danny up in Helen taking the kids to the woods today. What's going on, Danny? What's the game plan up there in Helen today?
Helen, let's go tubing.
Oh, you're into a little bit of ice tubing then.
Yeah, right.
That cold mountain water's no joke, man.
You're doing a wonderful job there, buddy. I'm in O'Neill's absence. But I was just going to say, I work with a lot of kids. I'm a Whitewater River guide up on the Chattooga, and we work with a lot of kids. And just taking a child, say, well, let's talk hunting. You don't even have to take a gun. Just take them down the trail, show them some rubs or some game trails, and it's amazing how much they're so much into that, and it's worth years and years. You can take a child to a Braves game, and that's great. But the closeness of being outdoors, just getting out in the woods, you can't replace that. You really can't.
No. And, right now it's actually a great time for it. As I just said here with the news that hunting is taking off again, it's great to be able to get out and get away from all this nonsense and this just stress over this pandemic situation. Just to get away in the woods with somebody and forget about it for a few hours really goes a long way to rejuvenating your mindset.
It really does. It really does. It really does. You said it right there, buddy.
Yeah. I highly recommend it. If for no other reason, folks, get out there. And as you were saying also, Danny, you don't necessarily have to go out in the woods hunting. Now, I would say this. If you want to go out in the woods and shoot something, bring a camera. How cool.
There you go.
Bring a camera. Look, I mean, there's nothing that says that you can't go out and hunt animals with a camera just as effectively as you could if you were to go hunt. The only difference is, of course, you're not going to be eating anything.
Grizzly bear.
Yeah, there you go. You're not going to be eating anything you shoot with your camera, but you will be able to build an incredibly cool collection of some nature photos that'll be fun to share with people in a different way. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Have yourself a great day, and we'll talk to you again sometime, Danny. All right, there goes Danny. Let's get back to the phones here. I've got, Jimmy's up in Dahlonega. Looks like he's going out hunting. What's up, Jimmy? What's the story? Hello, Jimmy.
Not much, man. Not hunting today. I'm working, but
okay.
I have a. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, man. I was kind of. I'm looking at this. Yeah, I got you. And I saw hunting with his son, and I was kind of wondering what you'd be hunting this time of year. Hello, Jimmy.
We're not hunting this time. I'm working today.
Okay.
So, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, man. Go. I think we're having some problems here with Jimmy. I'm going to put him on hold here for a minute. I got another call here from Luke. Oh, we lost Jimmy. I guess he hit a bad cell. Luke in McDonough. What's going on with this morning? Welcome to O'Neill Outside. Good morning, Luke.
Hey, buddy. It's good to be here this morning with you. Yes, wanted to comment on the children in hunting.
Yes, sir.
To me, the two biggest things is gun safety, and it teaches the child what life and death really is.
Absolutely. Give me a little bit more on that, man, from your personal take on it. What does that mean to you when you take the child out and the whole life and death situation comes into play? You there, Luke?
For example, my granddaughter this year shot her first deer with a crossbow, and just the whole experience and her understanding what a lethal weapon can do. And she got really excited, and it was a very, very special moment to recover the deer, and we processed it, and now she's eating it.
And I'm betting that she's got the biggest smile on her face when she's eating that too.
Oh yeah. It's a true blessing, and I think you'll find that the hunters are the best stewards of the environment.
There's no question about it. When it comes to people who truly are in love, for lack of a better term, with nature, it's definitely the hunter. They contribute more monetarily through their hunting fees, through the tag fees, through taxes on ammo, and so on. That it's their funding that helps keep our national parks good, our wildlife preserves good. They're the reason why we have the great outdoors experiences that we have in this country and in the state of Georgia.
Love spending Saturday mornings with O'Neill and you too. It's been good.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the call, man, and have yourself a very wonderful day. I got some slots open on the board here. The number 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. I'm going to dive right back into this headline that I had here about 2020 reviving the once dying sport of hunting. This is a little article I found on the Fox News lifestyle hunting page online. It saw a surge of hunting. That's correct. 2020 may very well be remembered as the year that saved the fast falling once iconic American pastime. The basic question that's been on a lot of hunters' minds lately is hunting aging out? In other words, are the people who keep the sport alive, is it not being passed to the next generation? Well, what we're finding since the COVID outbreak is that there's a renewed interest in hunting, and so a lot of people are flocking to the sport. And I have a gentleman here, Hank Forster, Director of Hunting Heritage for the Georgia-based National Deer Association, says they've seen an uptick in emails, online traffic, and sales of their Deer Hunting 101 online course. It's an increased awareness of the possibility of food shortages driving this, according to Mr. Forrester, and also issues of modern industrial food processing that are motivating people to hit the woods and think about alternative sources of protein, like venison or elk or turkey or whatever. The self-sufficiency aspect of it, the connection with nature, the local sustainable protein sources are all factors that are really helping people shift their alignment and thinking towards looking at hunting as a viable sport and a viable pastime. Now, a lot of problems have come up with, say, like supply chains or different sources of obtaining what materials you may need for hunting. I would only say that that's a good thing for the short term, because that means a lot of people are moving on rifles, on ammo, on targets. They're getting their practice in. They're getting their time in. And so it's just actually exciting to see a shortage for this reason when it comes to finding ammo. Now, all I can say is be persistent out there if you're hunting for anything that's a little tough to find for your ammo, but you will do well. Now, the biggest increase, and this is interesting for me, is women. That's correct. We'll talk about that in a second. You're listening to O'Neill Outside on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk, and nationwide on SportsMap Radio Network. Welcome back to O'Neill Outside. Scott Maxim filling in here with you on this fine Saturday morning. Going to wrap up this hour, I guess, here, and just let you know we've got another hour coming up of some great outdoors talk coming up. I think let's see if we can squeeze in one call before we go to the top of the hour, and I'll get back to this story here about a resurgence in hunting. Good morning, Wade. You're checking in from Kentucky this morning. How are you today?
Morning, Scott. How you doing, buddy?
Life is good in the fast lane. What can we do for you this morning?
Let me get y'all speaker. Hang on. All right, Scott, I got me a Remington 700 308 bag.
Mm-hmm.
Got a good deal on it. Bought it because of the range of the gun, plus got access to some good hog hunting down there in South Georgia.
Oh man, you planning on going out and doing a little hog hunting today?
No, I'm in St. Louis right now.
Oh, okay.
I'll be back in Kentucky, then I'll be back in Georgia. Then I gotta go to Florida to help with a buddy of mine. Bought another house down there.
Oh, right on.
A little remodeling is coming up in the future, and some fishing. What did I use on that, Scott?
I'm sorry, you broke up there for a second. Wade, I'm sorry, what was that?
The battery's died on this cordless phone, Scott. What grain bullet would you use that 308? Because I want to sight it in, and I want to shoot the same grain bullet when I'm hunting with it.
Well, that's just it. I'll give you an answer that's sort of a non-answer. Okay. The only thing I can tell you as far as what grain bullet to use is to experiment with different grain bullets. And for those of you who don't know that are listening, grains refers to the size of the bullet. It's sort of its mass, if you will. Now, I say this because I have a handgun that shoots 115 grain bullets perfectly to point, but 124 grain bullets shoot slightly left and up. So the only answer I have for you is to try a few rounds from different manufacturers, find the best one that works for your gun, sir.
Okay, so I use
And actually, wait, I'm sorry, I do have to bail. This is the top of the hour, and we do have some spots to fill, man. So thanks for the call. I appreciate it. You're listening to O'Neill Outside on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk, and Coast to Coast on SportsMap Radio Network.
Works Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors: Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits, Works Power and Garden Tools, CVA muzzle loaders, it's just a better gun, Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience, Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings, True Turn Hooks, hook more fish, Furminator, the best food plot implements on earth, Roadrunner Lures, Roadrunner equals more fish, Arctic Ice, the most durable and versatile cooler packs, Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait, and the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, State Parks and Historic Sites.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of O'Neill Outside for this fine Saturday morning. O'Neill and Woman Williams are taking the day off, getting a little much-needed relaxation and rest. Maybe not necessarily in that order. In the meantime, yours truly, Scott Maxim, the occasional outdoorsman, filling in for O'Neill and Gail. And we are having a great morning right here on O'Neill Outside. This program is brought to you by Works Tools, Stripling's General Store, Snellville Heating, Air, and Plumbing, the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, True Turn Hooks and Roadrunner Lures, Fisher's Choice Baits, Gen Spring Power Generators, Tough Shed Storage Buildings and Garages, the Big Green Egg. Yeah, those smokers and grills, they're amazing. And Mark Hurd Fuel. Today's theme, we're kind of running with this, I guess, a teachable moment, if you will. I've read a letter in the previous hour talking about a man who was offended that parents should take their kids hunting, and that bonding with your kids while hunting instills primal instincts in children. Well, I disagree, and I know a bunch of you out there disagree as well. We've had a bunch of callers talking about why they don't subscribe to that belief because they've taken their kids out and seen what it's done for them. If you got plans for that today, give us a call, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. That'll put you in touch with me, and you can tell me what's on the agenda today. Coming up this hour, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how hunting is rebounding. That's right, great news, and a silver lining for the COVID-19 pandemic. Since we can't really go anywhere, we might as well go out in the woods. And that's what a lot of people are thinking. We'll touch base with that here in a little bit. I've got some stories here about some kids who had some great harvests this year, one of which scored a world record buck. Oh my! We're going to find out about that. Plus your calls. Let us know what you've got planned for today. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. You're listening to O'Neill Outside on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk, and coast to coast on Sports Map Radio Network. Welcome back to O'Neill Outside. Scott Maxim filling in for O'Neill this morning and taking your calls. 404-872-0750 if you're in the Atlanta metro area. 800-972-8255 if you are outside said called area. And I do have somebody here on the phone. Let's jump in with Ray real quick. He's calling from someplace up in North Georgia. Ray, good morning. Welcome to O'Neill Outside. I'm thinking Ray's got a bit of an issue here. We'll touch back with Ray here in a second. I do want to readdress the question that I got just before the top of the hour when we did our break. A gentleman who called asking if there's a preferred grain 308 bullet that he should use with his rifle. Well, I didn't want to sound like I'm just giving a cop-out answer by saying shoot a bunch through the gun and you'll find your best bullet. But that is actually the way that it is done, unfortunately. Here's the deal, and a lot of people don't know this, but guns sometimes have a favorite type of ammunition. What do I mean by that? They'll function at their optimum with certain rounds versus others. I had mentioned that I had a handgun that shoots 9mm, but only 115 grain bullets accurately. And I thought, that's so strange. Why would, a 124 grain bullet not hit the same point of impact as the 115 grain bullet? And it quite simply is the way the mass of that bullet reacts with the barrel of that particular gun. It's not going to be your optimum solution. Another instance, I ran into a gentleman one time when I was out skeet and trap shooting here on the south side of Atlanta, and he was complaining that this brand new shotgun that he bought would absolutely not shoot the ammo that he preferred. Well, he's correct. Sometimes it's just like that. I have a 12 gauge myself that I cannot run anything through except Remington ammo. For one reason or another, that gun will not operate reliably and touch off those primers on those shells unless it's a Remington shell. It fails with Winchester. It fails with CCI. It fails with Federal. Everything except the Remington. And sometimes guns just, for whatever reason, prefer a certain type of round. So if you're going to figure out which is the best round for your particular hunting weapon, you're going to have to run a few of them through from different manufacturers. You're going to have to run them out to a target at about 100 yards, and you're going to have to group them. See how tight those groupings are when you shoot about 4 or 5 rounds each, and that will give you your idea for the best round for your particular rifle. 404-872-0750 is the number. 800-972-8255 outside of the metro Atlanta calling area. And I want to dive back into this great news here that we got regarding hunting. It is seeing a resurgence because of COVID-19, specifically because it's an outdoorsy, socially distanced, fun activity, but it's also a way to stockpile food, protein, meats, and so on in an emergency. It's a practical, fun outdoor thing. But the biggest thing that I took away from this article that I found was that women are the largest growing demographic among the number of people getting licenses and scoring their tags this year. They're up 12% from previous years, which is phenomenally great news. I love hearing about women hitting the woods. I love hearing about them enjoying being able to do what the same thing that a guy can do in the woods. They truly love everything that comes with the whole hunting experience and the firearms that are involved. I will give you an example as well. I have a cousin that lives up in North Georgia, and I know right now he and his daughter are salivating. Brad and Charlotte, they're looking forward to turkey season, which starts up next month, because last year Charlotte got her first bird, and she loved every minute of going out hunting with Dad. So he'll be out with her doing that again this year. And again, happily, very many more women are getting into the sport of hunting. Now, let's see, what do we, hunting license buys. Now, if you want a good number here, they were dropping pretty precipitously for the longest time, but now it seems that it's gone up about 7.3% on those hunting licenses. That's a great news. That means more money for the state's coffers for maintaining habitats. That means more money for conservation efforts. And that means actually more money for everybody to enjoy the woods more. That's great, absolutely great news. Plus all the excise taxes on ammo, on weapons and hunting supplies and so on. That's also helping boost the coffers of our states here. Nothing but great news. I'm highly encouraged by this. And if you haven't considered hunting in the past, maybe the time is now to look at it. A lot of people are getting into it, so you don't have to really worry about being the new guy on the block who doesn't really know what's going on or whatever. Find a friend who likes to go hunting. Find a guide in the Let Your Fingers Do the Walking through the Yellow Pages. I just dated myself there. But find somebody who has the expertise and experience to be able to take you out the woods and truly show you how enjoyable that hunting and outdoors activities can be. And if you don't feel like hunting, call somebody up to go fishing. That's never a problem, finding somebody that's good for that. So great news. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that the younger generation is getting involved with hunting. Matter of fact, great story coming out of Kansas along those lines. I have a teen here who scored a 42-point buck this last season. 42 points. And it's been confirmed as a world record. This particular buck was harvested on the family's land and had been spotted 3 years ago. So, getting back to what we were talking about earlier with the letter from Mr. Andrew Halsey saying that parents shouldn't hunt with their kids because it instills primal instincts. Well, the primal instinct would have been to take that buck earlier than 3 years. What they've done is they've watched that buck develop and grow and mature to become the animal that was harvested in this world record effort by Miss Paisley Worth, a 14-year-old girl from Cimarron, Kansas. Congratulations. That buck, now here's what's interesting. When you score a buck, you have to remove the antlers and let them dry for 60 days before an official measurement can be completed. The rack unofficial score in the woods, 282 and 6/8 inches with 44 points. When it was all said and done and the drying was complete, 271 and 4/8 inches with 42 points. Congratulations on your world record buck harvest. And if you think that memory isn't something that a parent and a child will treasure forever, you're crazy. This is what hunting is for. This is what the outdoors is for. This is a moment that will never, ever be the same as any other moment in this woman's life, in this young girl's life, and her father's life. So congratulations to Miss Paisley Worth. I got another guy here, bow hunter in Alaska, bags a massive mountain goat. Oh, we got ourselves another big harvest here. A gentleman by the name of Caleb Baird harvested this mountain goat in Alaska, scored it 53 4/8 inches, which is big for a goat, y'all. And it took a solo expedition over 4 days to track down this goat and bag it. Now, Baird used a bow to take this goat, and when he hit it with the arrow, it took off down the side of the mountain and unfortunately fell a long way down a gully. But thankfully, the rack is okay. The animal was not too damaged, so the harvest is a beautiful thing. All right, y'all. 404-872-0750 is the number. 800-972-8255 for those outside of the Atlanta calling area. Pick up that phone, punch those numbers in that order, and give me a call. Let's find out what you got in store today for your outdoor plans. You going hunting? You going fishing? You taking the kid? You should. You should. And there's a lot of good reasons why, and we've been talking about them all morning. So make that a plan today if that's possible, and do your thing. You're listening to O'Neill Outside on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk, and Coast to Coast on SportsMap Radio Network. Welcome back. This is O'Neill Outside, bumping in with the dulcet tones of Nat King Cole, one of my favorite singers of all time. Thank you very much. Back at the WSB headquarters, Mr. Corey, for that one. Scott Maxim filling in for you this morning on O'Neill Outside. I've had a great morning so far, man. We've been talking about great things you could do with the kids outdoors and all kinds of great things that you can instill into children through their hunting and fishing and so on. And just the great news about the hunting industry and sport as a whole making a comeback. Well, I've got even better news for you. That's right. I got a story from a couple days ago that broke out of Oklahoma. Hunters, are you tired of just ordinary animal hunting? I mean, deer, come on. We've done it a million times. Elk, it's just a big deer. Going hunting for bear? Pah! Passé. Oklahoma has revolutionized the hunting business. An Oklahoma lawmaker has pitched a bill to create a bona fide Bigfoot hunting season in Oklahoma. That's right, boys and girls. It's time to go stalk Sasquatch. It's time to go out and start glassing those horizons, looking for that big old skunk ape. And Oklahoma is ready to help you do it. That's right. Wednesday, Representative Justin Humphrey introduced House Bill 1648, urging the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission to establish a Bigfoot hunting season, which is just great. The Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission shall promulgate rules establishing a Bigfoot hunting season, the bill states. The commission shall set annual season dates and create any necessary specific hunting licenses and fees to do so. Yes, this is a real bill. And the Assistant Chief of Informational and Education Division at Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, I know, a bunch of big words thrown in there, this gentleman, Micah Holmes, says there may be a lack of support from the Department of Wildlife Conservation because they make science to make management decisions and do not recognize Bigfoot as a wildlife species. However, Humphrey is still on board with making this happen. For this reason, he represents House District 19, a southeastern area of Oklahoma famous for Bigfoot sightings. So he does have a vested interest in making this happen. And in a nearby town called Honobia, fans of Bigfoot celebrate yearly with an official Bigfoot festival and conference. So maybe the season will coincide with said conference. And this might be an idea that could have legs, because Bigfoot's also been spotted in North Carolina, right here in Georgia, Washington State, and Oregon in recent years. So it obviously opens up some new questions for me. One, how much is the tag to hunt a Sasquatch? Two, What do you hunt a Sasquatch with? That's my question. Am I going out there with a high-powered rifle? Am I going to need a 50 cal? What is the... This is going to create a whole new paradigm for hunting, and whoever comes up with the recipe for hunting Bigfoots first will be the richest man in America. 404-872-0750 is the number. My name is Scott. This is O'Neill Outside, and I've got Zach calling from Carrollton. He's taking the kids out today. Where you going? What you doing, Zach, and how are you?
Doing wonderful. Not taking the kids out today, but the thing about a lot of children, they think you just go to Walmart and get the chicken. You go to Walmart and get what you want.
Yes.
It's surprised how many kids thought that.
You know, it's interesting, too, and one of the things that people, I don't know if many people recognize this, but when you hunt for your own food and you see what's involved with actually harvesting the animal, you appreciate life a little bit more. And I'm not going to lie to you. I don't look at a steak at Kroger the same way, knowing that, you know, that was once a living animal, just like a venison steak was once a deer. It really makes you appreciate that piece of nutrition that's sitting on your plate a little bit more, I think.
Yes, definitely. The children did.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, how old were you kids when you started taking them out, Zach?
9, 7, 13, and 15.
9, 7, 13, and 15. And were they all training with firearms at the time, or was this just like an exercise to go out and watch Dad do his thing and learn from that?
Firearms and bows.
And bows. No kidding. Wow. So you did the whole thing.
Yes, sir. I got a friend his specialty is all of them, so it wasn't no problem training them up.
See, that's great. You know, when you have the friend that can hook you up with his knowledge and skills and everything like that, it just makes it more enjoyable for you and for the kids, and everybody learns something. It's a great way to go out and do something.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Now, I got a question. Now, obviously, your kids have harvested some animals over the years, I would imagine, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, in your mind, is there anything more amazing than watching that kid with that first harvest? I mean, what's it like to look into their eyes and see that smile on their face?
I have never seen a gleam in my daughter's eye so much as when she got her first turkey and her first deer.
That's awesome. And you know what?
It was better than any Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Any computer, any shoes.
Wow.
So I loved it, and so did she.
Now you
the
see,
little ones were a little afraid at first, but they come on up with it.
Well, you know, and that's the thing too. I think a lot of people don't realize, you know, when like this letter that I read out earlier, where they're talking, the gentleman's talking about instilling your kids with these visions of death of these animals and everything like that. Well, that's not what it's about at all. It's about going out and appreciating them appreciating the outdoors and the fun of the hunt.
Yes, sir. I believe that a lot of children now have become desensitized, and that opens them back up, I think.
You know, you might be onto something there. I think you might be onto something, because when you look at, for example, all the stuff in video games that desensitizes people, I think when you get out and you actually see the real consequences of how life works in the real world, that definitely brings a different mindset to this person.
I would agree.
Outstanding.
I would hope, you know.
Well, yeah, you would hope. You would hope. And if not, know somebody who does some good therapy. All right, Zach.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank you, man. Thank you for taking the time to call us today, and thank you for listening to O'Neill Outside. We'll touch base with you again, sir.
Yes, sir, you will. Thank you.
All right. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Those are the numbers in and outside of the Atlanta calling area, respectively. Give them a try. Punch those numbers and give me a call. I'd love to talk to you this morning and talk a little bit more about the great outdoors. Now, I've got a little subject here I want to touch on, and I've wanted to touch on this in the past, actually, and haven't done so for one reason or another. But that's the subject of poaching. Now, I'm bringing this up right now because we just got out of the second rut of deer season here now, and we're in between seasons before we move into the turkey season in March. And some people may just not feel the need to, how shall we say this, keep within the seasons with their particular idea of a hunting season. So poachers, first of all, let's just get down to brass tacks. These people are thieves. These people are thieves because the game that they poach belongs to the citizens of this state and of every state. Wildlife isn't necessarily wild when it comes to Georgia and the Department of Natural Resources. These animals are, for lack of a better term, owned by the taxpayer, and when you pay for tags, when you pay for your licenses, you're helping to pay, once again, for all the environmental upkeep necessary to keep these species happy and healthy. So when somebody takes an animal outside of season, what they're doing is, first of all, robbing the state of the money generated from the hunting license and from the tag, and secondly, depriving other hunters of the opportunity to harvest that particular animal. It's selfishness to the core. So when you hear about a poaching and a poacher, they are lazy people who don't care about making other people's day worse and about obeying rules that help preserve the lives and help animals flourish within this wildlife area. I'm going to get right back to that in a second. I've got a call here I definitely want to hit because I haven't heard from this friend of mine in a while. Don is calling from Ocean Isle, North Carolina, correct?
Ocean Isle, North Carolina. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
I am doing well, sir. How the heck are you in this fine new 2021 and my first chance to host this year?
Bored is the word, I guess, you know.
What's your excuse? You live by the shore, man. You should be out casting a line.
Well, I know, but, you know, it's before the king season and before the bottom fishing season kicks in, and these old farts I fish with, we have to socialize, distance. But we did have a little excitement over here a couple of 3 weeks ago.
Oh, tell me about it.
Some guys out of Southport called Independence caught a 660-pound bluefin tuna.
Whoa, that's huge.
And I don't even know enough about bluefin tuna fishing to be dangerous. So, you know, some of the others I am, but I don't even... We fish for yellowfin a lot, but the bluefins, you know, that takes specialized rigs and heavy-duty stuff. And
well,
I did have some guys that bought the rigs and fished, and I don't think they ever caught anything but sharks. So.
Well, you know, there's something to be said about snagging a shark too, man. I mean, it's not something you can say every day when you go home. Hey, what'd you catch? I caught a shark today.
Well, those things are so prevalent out there in the ocean now that being endangered species is a misnomer.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know what? I guess reel one in and grill it up. They make for some good eating too.
Well, some of them do, yes, sir. The blackfins are okay and have eaten hammerheads, but the rest of them are... There's better things out there to eat.
Right on. Well, Don, I got to bail, but I want to thank you for giving us a call here this morning. Hope you're having a wonderful day.
Thank you for filling in for O'Neill.
It's my pleasure, my pleasure. We'll catch up with you later, Don. Have a great one.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all are listening to O'Neill Outside, America's #1 outdoor show on 95.5 WSB Atlanta's News and Talk and coast to coast on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Honor, courage, and strength of character. These qualities are embodied by the recipients of the Medal of Honor. Now let's recognize this week's Medal of Honor recipient on O'Neill Outside.
Welcome back to O'Neill Outside. This week's Medal of Honor recipient is one Robert L. Wilson, Marine, Private First Class, World War II. Location, Tinian Island in the Mariana Islands, August 4th, 1944. During action against enemy Japanese forces at Tinian Island in Marianas Group on August 4, 1944, a group of Marines advancing through heavy underbrush to neutralize isolated points of resistance, PFC Wilson daringly preceded his companions toward a pile of rocks where Japanese troops were supposed to be hiding. Fully aware of the danger involved, he was moving forward while the remainder of the squad, fully armed, closed together in the rear when an enemy grenade landed in the midst of the group. Quick to act, Robert cried a warning to the men and without hesitation threw himself on the grenade, sacrificing his own life that the others may live and fulfill their mission. His exceptional valor, his courageous loyalty, and unwavering devotion to the duty in the face of grave peril reflect the highest credit upon PFC Wilson and the U.S. Naval Service. He gallantly gave his life for his country. He was born in Illinois, and he died at 23 years of age. Robert L. Wilson, Marine, Medal of Honor recipient. Welcome back to O'Neill Outside. Scott Maxim here, filling in for O'Neill and Gale. The number's 404-872-0750. If you'd like to chat, let me know what you got going on today. Let me know if you're hitting the woods, just like Chris here, up and coming. Looks like he's heading out with the kids today. What do you have in mind, Chris? What are you doing?
Hey, good morning, Scott. Yeah, we're out on our way to the swamp with my 10-year-old and my 7-year-old, and we've been going at it here all season, and we're trying to close the deal with my 7-year-old to get his first duck. It's not easy, as you can imagine, but yeah, we're heading out to public land, and we got this weekend and next weekend, and the season's over.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful day today, too, so y'all should be in great shape. But obviously the question now, are you sure it's duck season, maybe not wabbit season?
No, we're my bigger boy. He got his first goose last weekend, and we saw a fair number of ducks. But they're not easy to hit. Obviously, they're flying quite fast, and usually if they land, they don't land long before they sense that something's not right with the setup, and they evacuate the area. But no, it's a great time, and they're enjoying kind of the excitement of. Is it going to be a mallard? Is it going to be a wood duck? Is it going to be a merganser? I guess that's kind of the fun of duck hunting. You kind of never know what's going to show up.
Actually, that's the fun of all hunting, isn't it? I mean, you never really know what you're going to get when you go hunting. Like, as I mentioned earlier, the young lady out in Kansas there with the 42-point buck. I mean, nobody sees that thing coming.
Yeah, that's I guess what keeps you getting up at 4:30, weekend after weekend is you never know what is going to happen that morning. And when you lay in bed and you don't get up, then my mind always wanders to, oh, God, I'm sure that 140-inch buck walked right by my like firing off all morning. It's just, I better get up and go. So now, that's kind of the way you think.
I have one technical question here for you this morning, Chris. Now, how old did you say your oldest son was, I believe, that's going out with you?
Yeah, I've got a 10-year-old going with me, and I've got a 7-year-old going with me this morning.
Now, and I don't know for sure, but is the 10-year-old going to be doing any shooting today?
Well, actually, they're both going to be carrying a 20-gauge. They each got a gun, and, they have been carrying a gun since they were maybe 5 or 6.
Wow. Okay, and that was my question. I was going to ask if you went with a 20 gauge for the kids because obviously it's going to be less kick, a little less pellets thrown in the air, obviously, but still plenty should be able to fell some ducks.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah. We got a we looked at the 410. We ultimately went with a 20 gauge based on a lot of reading I did, just because a lot of 410s I've read they're just so light that you actually can experience more recoil with the gun being so light. And this 20 gauge we got, it really does not kick that bad with lighter loads, and they've become quite confident shooting it. And we've shot targets, we've shot squirrels. We slowly worked them up, and obviously worked on gun safety ad nauseum. We still work on it constantly, and that's obviously the number one thing always in the forefront of everyone's mind is safety. And if you don't think the shot's right, don't take it. I'd rather not take the shot than take an ill-advised shot. So they're good about that, and
that is great advice, by the way. I can't stress that enough. If the shot is not right, don't take the shot. It doesn't matter what you're shooting at, deer, whatever. If for whatever reason that's not a perfect line of sight to where you want to hit that bullet to hit, don't take the shot. Show some discipline.
Yeah, once you pull that trigger, you can't take it back. And, you're obviously always going to kind of wonder, should I have shot? Should I have shot? That's a better regret than I shouldn't have shot. That is a horrible feeling, and you don't want that feeling. So
no, and that feeling comes with watching an animal limp off somewhere in the woods to just suffer. And that's one of the things that I like to stress here when I'm hosting the show is I'm about the ethical, least harmful way to take the animal, to harvest the animal. Do it in the least amount of suffering possible.
Absolutely. We were in the deer woods all fall, and, my older boy missed a 6-point buck. My younger son had a couple of opportunities, but ultimately he didn't feel comfortable taking the shot, and he kind of kicked himself afterwards. But I told him, look, if you weren't comfortable, if you didn't feel as though you could make that shot and ethically dispatch the animal quickly, that's what you owe that animal, then you'd made the right decision by not taking the shot. I know you want to get one, and I want you to get one, but if there's any doubt in your mind, listen to your conscience and wait, and you made the right decision, which isn't hard. That's a hard lesson to teach a kid. They want immediate gratification, but they're kind of learning you owe that animal that respect.
Chris, you are just so doing it right. Can I just tell you, I love everything that I've heard you say this morning. I love the fact that you're stressing the safety with the firearms. I even love the fact, and some people may disagree with you and I in this regard, but that you're starting them so young into the sport and around these firearms. I just think you're doing a great job with these kids, and I think ultimately they're going to be really great responsible hunters as they get older.
Well, I appreciate it. That's it's what it's all about. We play all the sports and we do all that too, but it's kind of special time to go out in the woods. That's what I did with my dad. Those memories are really important to me and special to me, and hopefully when they get older, they'll do it with their boys.
Outstanding. Well, thank you. This has been a great call, Chris. I really appreciate you calling. And hey, check back with us again next week and let us know how that duck hunt went.
All right, Scott, you take care.
You do the same, and thank you very much for the call. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Those are the numbers that will put you in touch with me and allow you to take the place here in the phone call queue that was just vacated. So, Chris, like I said, is raising kids right. And getting back to the subject of poaching, this is a parent getting it done right. And these are what poachers are. They either flat out reject the idea of the ethical hunt, don't have time for it, or too lazy to deal with it, or they just didn't have somebody like Chris in their lives to bring them up right and show them how to do things right and to be ethical. I'm going to give you a case in point here of a man who does not get it, all right? John Blick Jr., that's the guy's name, just convicted here of poaching 60 deer, whitetails and mule deer both, over several years in Kansas. And this is following a multi-year investigation conducted by the Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism. There's a 139-count complaint against this man with 60 counts of illegal hunting included among them. 60. Now, is it so hard to go out and do it right? Is it really so hard to go out and get your hunting license, or to wait until the proper time to hunt, or to even hunt an animal that is ready to be harvested? I don't even know if this guy was harvesting does out of season, or if he just was into, there's a yearling, let's take it. There's no respect for anything with regard to environment or herd or anything that poachers do. So Blick got burned. And right now, his charge lists include, and he pled guilty to, numerous counts of criminal hunting, hunting with the aid of a motor vehicle, meaning that you spotlight deer from the side of the road and then blast them when they're blind. Criminal discharge of a firearm, felon in possession of a firearm. There you go, there's another one. Failure to purchase or to tag deer, exceeding bag limits, hunting with artificial light, hunting without a valid license, and taking trophy deer illegally. Not a good person. Not a guy who's doing it right. And here's another one. This one is great, and I'm going to tell you why. Sad about the poacher. Great about what the state of Kentucky has done to catch said poacher. Kentucky's now using robot deer to catch poachers. They're setting up these robotic deer, I guess, around different parts of the state where they feel like habitual poachers are conducting their activity. And, they got a guy, this guy James Malone, arrested on Sunday night. This was reported on December 23rd, by the way, after authorities caught him shining a spotlight on a deer from his SUV. I'm thinking the robotic one. The state Department of Natural Resources forbids hunters from deliberately casting rays of spotlight or artificial light into any field, pasture, or woodlands or forest, whether public or private, to hunt wildlife. 2 reasons. 1, it's unethical. You blind the animal. 2, you really can't see past that spotlight. You don't know what's behind the animal. You don't know if maybe a couple 100 yards back in the dark there might be a house or some person walking around in their yard or whatever, somebody's dog or animals on their property. So when you take that shot and should you miss, well, you can hit whatever's behind your target and do them wrong. Not cool. So when it's all said and done, Maloon was charged with spotlighting deer, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of a controlled substance, illegal taking or pursuing of deer or wild turkey, hunting or trapping without a license or permit, and the coup de grace, littering. I'm glad they got him on that. Add a little more time. So if you're in Georgia and you observe a poacher, what are you going to do? Well, folks, I would say this. First of all, for anybody listening outside of the state of Georgia, consult your local Department of Natural Resources website and find out how to report poachers. I don't have time for them. You don't have time for them. They're not doing us, the state, or the animals any good. Department of Natural Resources website and find out how to report poachers. I don't have time for them. You don't have time for them. They're not doing us, the state, or the animals any good. Find out how to make this happen. Here in Georgia, here's what you can do. Call the Ranger hotline on your celly, 800-241-4113. Once again, 800-241-4113. Or for AT&T Mobility customers, star DNR. That line is monitored 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and is ready to take your call. You need to include a description of the violator, a description of a vehicle if possible, the location of the violation, the type of violation, and finally, if you can't do that, send an email directly to Ranger Hotline, provide a contact number so that the game warden can contact you and get any information that they need. You can find that at the Georgia DNR Wildlife website. Make sure you know that information. You're listening to O'Neill Outside on 95.5 WSB and Coast to Coast on SportsMap Radio Network. Welcome back. We're wrapping it up for another day of O'Neill Outside Radio here on a beautiful Saturday morning from Sassafras Mountain. I want to thank y'all for being here with me today. I want to thank O'Neill for letting me fill in with him, This is just such a privilege to be able to come out and talk with y'all and find out what your game plan is for the Saturday and find out just how much the outdoors means to you. That really is a lot of fun for me. And to wrap it up today, I would say this. We started off the show talking about a guy up in Buffalo, New York named Andrew Halsey, who believes that when you go hunting with your kids, you're instilling primal instincts and bloodlust, for lack of a better term. And I think today we have shown that it's anything but. Parents going out hunting with their kids or fishing or enjoying the outdoors, well, they're doing their kids a service. They're helping their kids to become great hunters, but also great conservationists. People who appreciate the outdoors, people who want to preserve the outdoors, people who understand that there's more to life than worrying about what's going on in work or if there's, stress over here, stress over there. These parents are setting their kids up to win for the long term by taking them out and helping them learn about what the outdoors can do for them and the fun that they can have there. They've set their kids up to win so many ways in their lives. So if you got that in your mind today to take a kid out, please do so. Go out and have a great time. Go out and enjoy the outdoors. And if you don't want to go hunting, well, like we said earlier, take a camera with you. Go take some pictures. Enjoy yourself. Discover what nature has for you out there. Find out what animals are in your part of the woods, literally, and have a wonderful weekend. I want to thank you for listening to O'Neill Outside. Once again, my name is Scott Maxim, filling in for O'Neill. Run on over to o'neilloutside.com, where you'll be able to watch this show and everything in the past on the video on demand section. It's at the very top of the page. Give the red button a click and relive some of this fun. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. You've been listening to O'Neill Outside on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk, and Coast to Coast on SportsMap Radio Network.
I once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, "I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill Outside on my radio. O'Neill, O'Neill, O'Neill Outside.